He woke up disoriented, his mind a blank canvas. He found himself in a bustling marketplace, the air thick with the aroma of spices and incense. The place felt strangely familiar, yet he couldn't place it. Faces blurred into a sea of anonymity as he walked, their words a jumble of incomprehensible sounds. A nagging feeling tugged at his heart, a sense of belonging intertwined with a profound sense of loss. He was a stranger in a place that whispered of home. The sun beat down on him relentlessly as he wandered aimlessly, his stomach growling with hunger. He reached out to a fruit vendor, his throat parched and dry. "Please," he rasped, his voice hoarse from thirst. "Could you spare some water?" The vendor sneered, his eyes cold and dismissive. "Go beg somewhere else," he spat, turning his back on the weary traveller. Dejected, he stumbled away, his hopes dwindling with each passing moment. He had no money, no memories, and no way to explain his predicament. The once welcoming atmosphere now felt hostile, the laughter and chatter grating on his nerves. He was adrift in a sea of faces, each one a reminder of his isolation. As the day wore on, exhaustion gnawed at him. He collapsed beneath the shade of a banyan tree, its ancient roots offering him meagre comfort. The world around him faded into a blur of colours and sounds as he drifted in and out of consciousness. Loneliness washed over him, a suffocating wave threatening to drown him in its depths. The following days were a blur of hunger, thirst and constant rejection. He learned to navigate the labyrinthine streets, begging for scraps of food and sips of water. He endured the scorn and ridicule of the locals, their laughter echoing in his ears long after they were gone. Some shooed him away like a stray dog, while others looked at him with pity, their eyes reflecting his own despair. One evening, he sought shelter in a dingy alleyway, huddling beneath a tattered awning as rain lashed down. He was shivering, his clothes soaked through, and his stomach cramping with hunger. Suddenly a gruff voice startled him. "Get out of here, you filthy beggar!" a man snarled, kicking at his makeshift shelter. He cowered back, his heart pounding in his chest. He scrambled to his feet and ran, the man's curses echoing after him. He didn't stop running until he reached the outskirts of the marketplace, his lungs burning and his legs aching. He collapsed on the side of the road, tears streaming down his face. He felt utterly defeated, lost in a world that offered him no solace. The days turned into weeks, and still his memory remained a blank slate. He felt like a ghost, invisible to the world around him, his existence reduced to that of a beggar. He longed for a glimmer of recognition, a spark of familiarity in the eyes of a stranger. But fate, it seemed, had other plans for him. One sweltering afternoon, as he made his way through the marketplace, a voice stopped him in his tracks. "My boy?" The voice trembled, filled with a mix of disbelief and hope. He turned slowly, his gaze falling upon an elderly woman standing in the doorway of a small tea shop. Her face was etched with wrinkles, her eyes filled with a mixture of concern and something akin to recognition. He stared at her, his heart pounding in his chest. He didn't recognize her, yet her voice stirred something deep within him. She took a hesitant step towards him, her eyes never leaving his face. "Don't you recognize me?" she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "It's me, Nana." He shook his head slowly, confusion clouding his features. "Nana!" he echoed, the word foreign on his lips. The woman's shoulders slumped slightly, but she didn't give up. "You used to call me Nana when you were a boy," she explained gently. "We used to play hide and seek in the garden, remember?" He searched his mind for any trace of the memories she spoke of, but they remained elusive. The woman, seeing his struggle, reached out and gently took his hand. Her touch was warm and familiar, sending a jolt through his body. It was a sensation he couldn't quite place, yet it filled him with a strange sense of comfort. With Nana's help, fragments of his past began to resurface. He learned that his name was Arav, and he was the only son of the wealthiest merchant in the region. Years ago, while returning from a pilgrimage, his parents' carriage had met with an accident. His father died instantly, and his mother, grief-stricken, succumbed to her injuries a few months later. Arav, just a child then, was presumed dead. Nana, his nanny, refused to believe he was gone. She had searched for him tirelessly, but her efforts proved futile. Years turned into decades, and hope dwindled into a painful memory. Yet she never gave up hope, clinging to the belief that one day fate would reunite them. As Arav's memories returned, so did his sense of self. He remembered his childhood home, the sprawling mansion overlooking the town, and the love and laughter that once filled its halls. He learned of his parents' legacy, their kindness, their generosity, and their unwavering commitment to the people they served. With Nana by his side, Arav reclaimed his birthright. He stepped into his father's shoes, his heart filled with a desire to honor his parents' memory and to use his newfound wealth and influence to make a difference in the lives of others. The townspeople, once indifferent to his plight, now greeted him with respect and admiration. They saw in him the reflection of his parents, their beloved leader reborn.